The Audio Beacon, July 2022. Garter Ceremony at Windsor Castle. A report by Brigine Warner. Garter Day. For the 13th of June, I was lucky enough to be given 2 tickets for the Garter Day parade at Windsor Castle. So, off I went with my daughter. Having a special ticket to park in the Long Walk in Windsor, we followed the signs to where we were to sit. Putting our chairs in place, we were ready. What a wonderful day! Soldiers in bright uniforms and shiny helmets, military band music, yeomen of the guard going by, and others. At 2:40 p.m, members of the Order of the Garter went past, including royals and other dignitaries, in their robes to St George's Chapel for a service. Carriages and cars took royals and dignitaries back to the castle after the service. The sun was shining and everyone enjoyed themselves. A great day to remember. The Ministry Team Letter by Jenny Vesey. Should the Church involve itself in politics? That old vexed question of the appropriate relationship between religion and politics is in the news again, through the planned removal of illegal immigrants to Rwanda, looming as I write, and the response to the policy by the archbishops and various bishops. By the time you read this, the first flight will have taken place. Or not. But the debate, if newspaper headlines can be so described, will doubtless continue both in and out of Parliament. Were the bishops right to speak out where they felt so strongly about the ethics of the Rwanda plan? Should the Church involve itself in politics? Should its leaders publicly condemn actions and policies which they believe to be wrong, but others see as right, or at the very least, as pragmatic? The episcopal intervention has been critically received on some of the front pages of the press. If you've ever heard me preach, you will know that I like definitions as a starting place for discussions. So, I went to the dictionary to remind myself of the origins of the word politic. From the Greek polis, city, it was originally concerned with citizenship, a good thing surely, thence developing into reference to differing philosophies and systems of governance, and from there to the power and control needed by adherents to such philosophies to implement those systems. And today, politics and politicians as we know them. As Christianity developed during its early centuries, church, state, and monarchy were frequently so deeply intertwined that only violence, warfare, and bloodshed could separate them. And Christianity, of course, is not alone in this, as we see in other countries and other faiths. Back into history. Was Henry VIII right to separate the English Church from Rome, sparking off centuries of internal and external conflict and so many brutal executions, all in the name of Christianity? Forward to the present. As a fundamentalist and militant Islam tightens its grip on everyday lives in Afghanistan, should pragmatically humanitarian Western governments be ignoring actions carried out in the name of religion and acknowledging the Taliban as a de facto government so that sanctions can be lifted and the practical needs of severe want being experienced by so many Afghanis can be met? The Church in Germany in the 30s and 40s was silent in the face of Nazism, perhaps even complicit. Pope Pius XII allegedly held a series of secret meetings with envoys for the regime. On the other hand, Dietrich Bonhoeffer, a Lutheran priest who spoke out against the rise of Hitler and his ethnic policies, was imprisoned and later hanged. His writings from prison are still read and often quoted. Was it right for the Church to refuse to condemn the politics of the Nazis? There is currently a deep rift developing between the Orthodox Church in Russia, whose leader, Patriarch Kirill, supports Putin's invasion, and the Orthodox Church in Ukraine, which vocally opposes it. Should the stance of the Ukrainian Church be applauded, or should the Church be standing aloof from political and military conflict and attempting to maintain a position of unity? And going right back to Christian basics, was it religion or was it politics that resulted in the arrest and crucifixion of Jesus? Or was it both? And can they ever be separated? And the question which started this off: should the Church involve itself in politics? Jenny. Good news for the Benefice. Walbury Beacon Benefice. Appointment of Rector. We are more than delighted to be able to announce that Reverend Canon Annette Shannon has accepted the 0.5 post of Rector in our Benefice. We are looking forward to welcoming Annette, her husband, and their dogs to the Walbury Beacon in autumn. Bishop Olivia's announcement. On Sunday the 19th of June, Jill Guy, as one of Kintbury's church wardens, read out the following notice from the Bishop of Reading. Bishop Olivia is pleased to announce that Reverend Canon Annette Shannon has accepted the post of part-time rector of the Walbury Beacon Benefice and will reside in Kintbury Vicarage, subject to the usual checks. The notice had to be read out publicly at an arranged time to coincide with an announcement at Annette's current benefice. We are hoping that the licensing will take place at the end of August in St Mary's, Kintbury. Annette will be coming to us with her husband Dave. We have much to be positive about in the future. Currently, Annette is rector of a benefice not dissimilar from ours. She is also an area dean, so has much experience to bring with her work for us. Many thanks to everyone who has joined with us in prayer for the future of our church community. Currently, we still have a vacancy for a house for duty priest to be based at West Woody, so your continued prayers for this appointment would also be much appreciated. Jill Guy. A message from the Reverend Canon Annette Shannon. I was born in Enfield, London, moving to Knebworth, Herts, when I was 7 years old. I attended Stevenage Girls' School in its very first comprehensive intake. Previously it had been a grammar school, but now there was a far more varied social mix of pupils. I loved learning, and after achieving my A-levels, went to Hatfield University to gain a degree in psychology, a subject I had always enjoyed and sought to teach. At the age of 21, I married David and set up home in Stevenage. Still a student, I would travel to university on my motorbike, which I remember with great fondness, a Yamaha YB100. After a move back to Knebworth, I left college and started teaching post-16-year-olds at the Further Education College. The pupils' ages varied significantly, anywhere between 16 and 60 years of age. I taught elements of psychology as well as O-level English. Our Nicholas was born in 1985, followed by daughter Charlotte in 1987, and our son Alexander, Alex, in 1992. As a result of David's career extending further to the east, we moved to East Bergholt. There, my daughter joined the church choir, and I would go along to support her. It was not until I was approached by a parishioner with the words, "We really want you to come to our Alpha course," that I felt a personal call, and became drawn seriously towards the Church of England. At St Mary's East Bergholt, I found myself running the Sunday school and the youth group. I applied for and landed a plum job teaching A-level students psychology at Colchester Grammar School, and before long found myself teaching the subject to nearly 1/3 of the sixth form. I thoroughly enjoyed the challenge of teaching at such a level, but in contrast I had also enjoyed being stretched to motivate young people under the youth training scheme. During these years, I was increasingly drawn towards the church and finally faced a 2-year struggle to come to terms with what I believed God was calling me to do. I shared my dilemma with my priest and began a year of discernment. At the end of this time of reflection and spiritual support, I was identified as a candidate for ordination. Unable to simply desert my growing family and stop work to opt for the preferred residential training, I joined the Eastern Region Ministry course run by the Cambridge Federation. I was ordained in 2006. I served my curacy in 6 parishes just outside Bury St Edmunds, finishing it with a long placement in Lavenham. I then became the inaugural woman incumbent in North Samford Benefice, with responsibility for 6 rural churches just outside Ipswich. I really liked it there and especially enjoyed the opportunity to meet a wide range of people. In the 11 years I was there, I had the privilege of growing a large ministry team of 22 people by encouraging and coaching lay members of my congregation to grow in faith and follow their hearts. I had a range of responsibilities within the diocese, including supporting aspirants, those exploring ministry, ordinands, those on a training programme towards ordination, and curates alongside my benefice role and my appointment as rural dean. As for hobbies, I enjoy painting in watercolours and inks, also any kind of craft work, and looking after my 2 cats and 2 Labradors, Daisy and Yuki, Japanese for snow. We try once a year to visit our son Nicholas in Singapore, where he is a surgeon, and love spending time with our 4 young grandchildren, all under 6. I have no illusions that the Church of England faces a range of major existential challenges and believe that future church growth will need to come from the bottom upwards. Far from that being a heavy burden, it can be very liberating for parishes as they are encouraged to enjoy utilising their creativity and talents. I believe that the only way our beautiful churches can survive and be living testimonies to faith is by valuing and supporting each other's ministry, celebrating the uniqueness of the buildings, recognising the underlying value that many non-church-going people have towards their churches as places of celebration, festival, or merely places of peace in an increasingly dysfunctional and hectic world. I am so excited to be with you and look forward to starting our new journey together. If you see me around, please do stop and introduce yourself. I would really like to get to know you better. Love and prayers, Reverend Annette. Prayers and Bears met during June and celebrated the Queen's Platinum Jubilee. We were pleased to share a special book, The Girl Who Grew Up to Be Queen. Alison designed some crowns for us to make, while Olivia helped us to make some celebration shortbread. We had a really good fun time together. Our next meeting will be in the garden of the old rectory at Kintbury for a Bring Your Own picnic at 12 o'clock on Thursday, 7th of July. We will also sing, have a story, refreshments, and have fun as usual. All preschoolers and their carers are welcome to join us. Grandparents are also welcome. From Jill Guy. Once a Mountain by Tessa Locke. But mind chains do not clank where one's next neighbour is the sky. Thomas Hardy on Wessex Heights. As we all know, Walbury Beacon Benefice is named after the point on Walbury Hill where, traditionally, a beacon has been built. Originally, beacons were lit across the south of England as an alert to the danger of invasion. More recently, and at least since Victorian times, the chain of beacons has been lit to celebrate royal jubilees. Sometimes known as Inkpen Beacon, at 974 feet above sea level, Walbury Hill is the highest point on chalk in England, and the site of Walbury Camp, an Iron Age hill fort which, I believe, has never been excavated. It will surprise some people to know that when the Ordnance Survey first surveyed this area, Walbury Hill was measured at being 1,011 feet above sea level, thus making it a mountain. However, a subsequent survey in the late 19th century measured Walbury at less than 975 feet, and so demoted it to the status of a hill. Further westward along the ridge is Inkpen Longbarrow, one of only 3 Longbarrows in Berkshire, but one of a cluster, most of which are located in Wiltshire and Dorset. However, it is not the Longbarrow that many visitors come to see, but the famous, or perhaps that should be infamous, Coombe Gibbet. Many people mistakenly believe that a gibbet was the site of a public execution, but this was not so. The original Coombe gibbet was only used once, but it was not for an execution. In 1676, George Broomham and Dorothy Newman were convicted of the murder of George's wife Martha and son Robert. They were executed at Winchester, but their bodies returned to their home parishes, where they were hung on the gibbet, as a deterrent to anyone contemplating committing murder. What contributes to the general confusion between a gibbet and a gallows is the fact that the downland on the north side below the gibbet is marked on OS maps as Gallows Down, presumably a misnomer which has stuck. As many of you will know, the story of Broomham and Newman inspired the then young Oxford graduate John Schlesinger to make his first feature film, The Black Legend. In the late 1940s, the Schlesinger family lived at Mount Pleasant, between Inkpen and Kintbury, and so the grisly local landmark would have been a familiar sight to them. With family members and friends from Oxford taking the major roles, John Schlesinger filmed the story of murder during the summer of 1948, using many local people as extras. I doubt any of these villagers had the remotest idea that this young man would one day go on to be one of Britain's foremost directors, winning 7 BAFTAs and an Oscar. Nearly 20 years later, John Schlesinger was to return to Wessex to film his adaptation of Thomas Hardy's Far from the Madding Crowd. Filmed entirely on location in Wiltshire and Dorset, what fascinates me about this later work are the number of scenes which recall moments from Schlesinger's earlier film. It is as if the inspiration he took from his work around Walbury Hill stayed with him and was used in this, one of the visually most beautiful of British films. However, it is not only because of the Black Legend that many other people visit Walbury Hill. The Newbury Weekly News Archive features various accounts of visits to the area or discussions of its history. Sometime in the late 19th century, the novelist and poet Thomas Hardy visited Walbury Beacon, though perhaps to confuse us even more, he calls it Inkpen Beacon and referenced it in his poem Wessex Heights. There are some heights in Wessex, shaped as if by a kindly hand, for thinking, dreaming, dying on, and at crises when I stand. Say, on Inkpen Beacon eastward, or on Willie's Neck westwardly, I seem where I was before my birth, and after death may be. Walbury Hill might not be a mountain, but it remains a much-loved landmark. Do you have any stories, facts or memories about the Walbury Hill area? We would love to hear them. If you would like to contribute to this discussion in the Beacon, drop me an email at teresalock@waitrose.com. Many thanks, Tessa Locke. Walbury Beacon Benefice, contact details. Jenny Veazey, email jennyveazey@hotmail.com. Benefice Office 01635 226 064. Email wbboffice@gmail.com. Items for the Beacon to fill on pji@crestednewtcomputing.co.uk. To be added to the Beacon distribution list, please email the office. Services in Walbury Beacon Benefice for July 2022. All services are dependent on ministry availability. To check for changes, please always check the weekly Benefice email if you are on the circulation list. To add your name, contact Alex on wbboffice@gmail.com. Look on the website https://www.walburybeaconbenefice.org.uk/ or a church near you https://www.achurchnearyou.com for up-to-date information, confirmation of service times and location. In order to protect more vulnerable parishioners, we would appreciate those attending services in all our churches to continue to practice hand sanitising, wearing of face masks, and respect for those who wish to maintain social distancing. Sunday, 3rd of July. Enbourne. Benefice service. Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Sunday, 10th of July. West Woody. Holy Communion, 11:15 a.m. Inkpen. Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m. Kintbury. Morning Praise, 9:45 a.m. Sunday, 17th of July. Enbourne. Matins, 9:45 a.m. Coombe. Holy Communion, 11:15 a.m. Inkpen. Compline, 6 p.m. Sunday, 24th of July. West Woody. Morning Praise, 11:15 a.m. Kintbury. Holy Communion, 8 a.m. Sunday, 31st of July. Kintbury. Holy Communion, 9:45 a.m.